Hey everybody, good morning. This is David Seamus here in Chicago. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for what you have been doing on this campaign for very, very long. To the tens of thousands of folks who have expressed an interest in trying to help out as a result of the storm that hit the East Coast over the weekend. One of the best parts about my job here at OFA is just seeing that, you know, from an organization that is built from the ground up, that is built person to person, neighbor to neighbor, that is truly about community, just to see how people have responded has been amazing. So thank you for that. So let's get right into where we are. So there are 4 days left. And I just want everybody on this call to understand that this election is going to be as close as the ones that we experienced in 2000 and 2004. And it's important to remember that in 2008, even though the president received 365 electoral votes and had the wind at his back, he only received 52.9% of the popular vote. So even in that historic election, there are 47.1% of Americans who voted for someone else. So this is how tight it's going to be in just 4 days. We are looking at margins in state after state that are going to look a lot more like they did in 2004, in 2000, than they did in 2008. What makes me feel good about where we are right now is that we have built, you have participated in, and have helped fund the largest grassroots army, political organization ever fielded in American political history. From state to state, on measure after measure after measure, what truly counts is the work and time that people are putting in, which is why I feel very good about the state of the race right now and where we are. So, look, you're going to see dozens upon dozens upon dozens of polls over the course of the next few days. And it's hard to ignore them, but please, here's what I'm asking you to do. Even the good ones that we like as opposed to the bad ones that we dislike, please ignore them and focus on what's most essential. And let me tell you right now what we're seeing in the field, because it's only these numbers that truly matter in the final 4 days. Take a look at Colorado, the place where the president was yesterday in Boulder. Through early vote right now, Democrats are doing better in early vote this year than we did 2 years ago when Colorado voters in a very close election re-elected Senator Michael Bennet. Those are actual people who are voting. Those are the real numbers that matter right now. And I think that what we are seeing right now in Colorado compares very favorably to what we saw in 2010 in the midterms. Take a look at the state of Florida. Florida is such a wonderful story, and it's really a tribute to the grassroots organization that this campaign that you have built. It took us only 48 hours, 2 days in early voting to wipe out the absentee ballot lead that Republicans had built up. Now, why that's important is that the only way that Republicans win in Florida is by building up a huge absentee ballot lead. For example, in 2008, in a year that we prevailed anyhow, they had an absentee ballot lead of 260,000 votes before early voting began. We were able to close that margin to 40,000 absentee ballots this year, and then within 48 hours, absolutely just wiped out any vestiges of a Republican lead in Florida. That's about organization. That's about hard work. That's about the team that you have helped to fund and to build. Let's take a look at Iowa. Iowa's been voting since late September, and through just a few days ago, Democrats have built up a 60,000 ballot lead over Republicans, which is exactly the type of lead that we have in 2008. In precinct after precinct, county after county in Iowa, we are seeing the amazing grassroots organization just flourishing and thriving and doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's think about Nevada, another place where we're seeing the early vote numbers at a really fantastic record pace. Just in Clark County yesterday, where Las Vegas is, we built up a 6,000 vote lead in Clark County, and we're up to a 60,000 vote lead over Republicans just there. So when you think about the margins that Republicans are going to have to cut into in Nevada and in Clark County, we're running up the score in a way that is a real problem for them and fantastic for us. And again, what is that about? That is about the organization on the ground that we have built. Think about North Carolina, a state that we only won by 14,000 votes in 2008. Here are the numbers that I love about North Carolina. The team there registered 340,000 new voters just in North Carolina. They crushed it in every single way. And based on numbers I saw this morning, about 1/3 of those people who are registered have already voted in North Carolina, and we lead by about 305,000 ballots cast so far. Ohio. President today is in Ohio. Governor Romney is going to be in Ohio, and the campaigns, both campaigns, are focusing so much time and effort and energy in Ohio. Our early vote numbers are fantastic. Democrats in Democratic counties are turning out. And now I'm going to kind of go against my admonition to ignore polls and just give you a little fun fact. When you look at the past 2 weeks, there have been between 16 and 20 public polls in Ohio, just gauging public sentiment there. And over that time, only 2 of those have had Governor Romney in the lead. The rest have had the president leading in Ohio. Ohio is going to be crucial, and we're happy that our team there is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, and then finally, a few more states, let's think about Virginia. Virginia is, in terms of the organizations that we've built there, we are excited about the team that has been built in Northern Virginia, in Richmond and Roanoke, and all throughout the state, where we are prepared to execute. And the team there has been running mock GOP trials to make sure that when it's ready to vote, we're going to be able to deliver the people that we need to. Think about Wisconsin, a state that has had recall after recall, election after election. When you look at early vote, Democrats and Democratic precincts are once again doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we're outperforming Republicans throughout the state. When you think about a place like New Hampshire, where there is no early vote, and it's the state next door to where Governor Romney was the governor of my home state of Massachusetts, we've got a tremendous opportunity with same-day registration there to augment the field and to make sure that we are responsive and to be able to do the things that we need to do on Election Day. So finally, look, we're 4 days out. This campaign is people. It's built upon what you have done, what our volunteers on the ground are doing and will continue to do in state after state.
Done by the same policies that Mitt Romney now wants to introduce. So, the fact is we could not be doing all of this if it were not for the incredible support that all of you have given throughout this campaign. And one of the things I want to communicate to you is sometimes maybe what you've done seems abstract, or it feels like you're just supporting a candidate. Every time I travel, though, I'm meeting young people who are going to college because we changed how the student loan program works. Every time I travel, I'm meeting people who right now have health insurance because of Obamacare. Every time I travel, I'm talking to somebody who's homeless, say, because of our timely intervention. And here in Ohio, every day, every rally, I'm seeing hundreds of auto workers who wouldn't have a job, and communities that would have collapsed had it not been for the work that we did. Just about every day I meet somebody in uniform who thanks me for Don't Ask, Don't Tell being repealed, because they're so proud to serve their country, and they now can do so without pretending that they don't love their partners. So across the board, what we've done is making a difference in people's lives. It's making our middle class stronger. It's giving young people opportunity like never before. It's helping people retrain for the jobs of the future. It's keeping our environment clean. It's bringing our troops home. It's rebuilding our infrastructure. It's doubling our clean energy. And this has concrete impact on people's lives. And that's what changes. That's what we fought for in 2008, and that's what we're fighting to preserve now. So, if any of you have any doubt about how much what you've done matters, you're hearing directly from me, how much it matters, but I'm also passing on the message from millions of Americans whose lives are better because of what you've done. And I just want you to all know how much I appreciate it, how grateful I am, and I also want to make sure everybody understands, though, we can't let up now. We've just got to keep pushing as hard as we can over these next 3-4 days. I'm sure David has given you a full rundown. He knows the politics of this thing better than anybody. Right now, we should win, but we're only going to win if we make sure that we've got the strongest volunteer base out there. We're only going to win if we make sure that we're not getting outspent 5-1 in some of these media markets by Karl Rove's super PAC and all the other folks who have been spending hundreds of millions of dollars against us. And that's where I hope all of you want to continue to just see this thing through to the very last poll is closed all across the country. We can only go so far as our resources take us. And we've been outraised pretty badly by the Romney campaign over the first half of October. We don't know what kind of impact this will have, but we do know they've been putting blatantly false ads up on the air in states like Ohio and now places like Pennsylvania. And we've got to make sure that we can compete with that. The only other thing I want to mention is everybody who's in a state where we can early vote, I need you to early vote. I voted early, Michelle voted early. You need to also. Get your friends and neighbors out there to the polls. So bottom line is this. This election, after all our hard work, obviously the most important thing that we did was to make sure that we didn't plunge into a second Great Depression. And, there were so many components of that. Restoring the auto industry, making sure that, the banking system stabilized and started lending again, providing support to states so they didn't have to lay off as many workers as they did, and, across the board, keeping millions of people out of poverty, in a position to regroup, get back to work. I'm very proud of all those things. But, if you ask me one particular piece of legislation that I'm proudest of, it's got to be the health care bill, because I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we know that people in this country won't go bankrupt when they get sick. And that, was a 100-year effort by a lot of presidents and a lot of great leadership. And we were able to bring that home. But obviously, none of that matters if we don't win anything here, because Mr. Romney intends to repeal it. And so that's part of what's so important about these next 5 days. Everything we've done over the last 4 years, in large part, is going to its lasting effect is going to depend on us making sure that we win this election.
Great. Thanks, Mr. President. We don't have any further folks with questions right now.
Well, listen, thank you for everything you guys have done. And everybody, even if you're not a battleground state, make sure everybody goes out and votes, because we want to make sure that we're sending a strong signal all across the country of support for the agenda that we fought for so long, and I intend to fight for another 4 years. All right?
Thanks, Mr. President.
I'm proud of everybody on the call. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So, you know, it's an amazing honor, I think, for all of us, and even us just sitting here and think about the time and effort and commitment and passion that we have put into this re-election campaign. And it's really even bigger than just the great leader, you know, the President of the United States that you heard right now. When you think about all the things that you care about and believe in, there are really two theories of this campaign that are being fought out over the next 4 days. One of them is funded by super PACs and big corporations. Another one is funded by people, by millions of people throughout the country who have responded to the beliefs and the values that this president has and shares. One theory is based upon the idea that they can only win if fewer people vote, and that somehow the country is better when you suppress the electorate, versus another vision, another set of values that says that we are stronger when every single American, Democrat, Republican, Independent, gets to vote and takes a stake in their democracy. All of this stuff, all of these things we believe in are at stake in the next 4 days. As I said at the beginning, this election is more like 2000 and 2004 than 2008. And remember 2000. 537 votes in Florida would have changed the course of history. Remember 2004. 100,000 votes in Ohio would have changed the course of history. That's how close this election is going to be. And on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, we are making decisions to respond to the latest attack ad that's on the air in Florida or in Ohio, or the piece of literature that's being dropped without any names attached to it throughout the country, or the leaflets that the Romney campaign is printing that are basically confusing voters in election day in places like Iowa and Wisconsin. All of these things we need to be able to respond to and to fund. And even though you have done so much already, all of us have, I'm pleased asking you that over the next 4 days, this is the final opportunity that we have to make sure that we are funded at a level that we can respond to every negative ad, to every negative radio spot, to every piece of mail, to make sure that we are deploying the people that we need to deploy to the areas that we need to make sure that we re-elect the President of the United States. This final 96 hours out is the most important period for us as we make the final decisions in terms of how we're going to respond, where we're going to respond, and essentially what we're going to do about things over the close of this campaign. We have been at this for a long time, and everybody has worked so hard. So please, I'm asking you to, dig deep again. And I know that you're tired of hearing it, but this is right now crunch time, and it's essential. Because look, all of us believe what we believe, and now the election is in your hands. And when I think about what this is really about, think about this. Do we have an economy where we grow it from the middle out or from the top down? Do we have a president whose first inclination is basically to find and make sure that our soldiers are safe and that they're coming home, versus one whose first inclination is to double down on the disastrous foreign policy of the past? Do we treat education as a public good or as a luxury just for a few? Do we tap into a clean energy future that helps our environment and our climate and makes us independent? Or do we double down on the things that we've done so much in the past? Do we value all of our people, our lesbian sisters and our gay brothers? Do we make them part of a community, or do we simply go back to the ways that said that you had to stay and not say who you loved, even if you wanted to serve this country? Do we have a president who refers to kids who are brought here as children? Do we have a president that refers to them as dreamers, or as one who refers to them as illegals? Do we have a president who believes that everybody has a stake in the future, as opposed to just a few? All of this is really at stake, and the next 96 hours are going to really be determinative and decide whether or not we're successful on Tuesday to re-elect the president. We've come really far. We are right now within grasp of bringing this home. So I want to thank you for what you have done, for the support that you have given, for the conversations that you have had with friends and family and neighbors and coworkers, for the donations that you have made and hopefully will make, because together on late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning, I know that no matter where we are in this country, whether you are in a battleground state or in a non-battleground state, when we see the President of the United States reelected, all of us can take pride and satisfaction that we did this, that we did it together, and now that we get to finish the job that we all began a long time ago. Thanks, everybody, for your help, for what you've done. Let's sprint to the finish line, and let's win this thing, not only for the President, but for this country. Thanks, everybody.